I'd like to call this meeting to order at, this clock says 6:29.
We'll go with 6:29.
Yeah. Okay. And would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Adjustments to the agenda.
Yes, Madam Chair. Have a number of amendments to the agenda I'd like the board to consider. If you look on your pink copy of the minutes, the first would be under item 1. I'd like to add items 1A through E. And it would be A, B, and C would be first read of Community Use Facilities Policies KF, KFA. C would be Automated External Defibrillator Policy EBCF. 1D would be a second read of the High School Co-Curricular Program Policy JJIA. 1E, a second read of the grade 5 through 8 Co-Curricular Policy JJIB. I'd like you to consider adding discussion and consideration of adjustments to the 14-15 Ellsworth School Department calendar, and that's in response to the excessive number of inclement weather days we've had this year, thus far. I'd like you to add item 5, a request to consider Hancock County Technical Center fundraising activities to support their trip to the national competition, and that would move the executive session down to item number 6.
Do I have a motion?
I move that we amend the agenda as the superintendent proposed.
Second that.
Any discussion? Those in favor?
Thank you.
Those opposed? Approval of the February 10th, 2015 minutes.
I move that we approve the minutes of the February 10th, 2015 board meeting as presented.
I second that. All those in favor? Opposed? Communications and correspondence.
Should be one letter in your packet, the letter of resignation from longtime Ellsworth High School ed tech Robin Clark. And there should also be a letter from the Department of Education with regard to the application for extension option that was submitted last month, and I'll talk about that in my report.
I didn't see that.
It might be in, the resignation letter is probably in Marcia's packet, maybe?
I got it stuck somewhere.
Should be.
Okay.
So wait,
I didn't see it, but yeah.
Item F is public participation.
This is,
Large crowd, but very quiet so far.
Very
Yeah.
quiet, yes.
so this is an opportunity for the,
Public to speak. if they
anyone in
would
the
like.
audience to speak if they'd like to.
Moving on to G, administrators and student board member reports. Rachel?
In student council news, at the end of February, we held an assembly to recognize the winter sports teams and their seasonal accomplishments, as well as the seniors on each team. We just thought that it would be a good way to end the season and recognize all of the kids for all the hard work that they've done this winter. So March 20th, we are holding Student Council's first highlighter dance. The council is very excited about this dance, and we are all actively participating in its planning. As a way to get the student body involved, Friday during our advisory block, we will be asking students for song recommendations to be played at the dance. And we think that this will help the students get excited for the dance, and it will also give us an idea of what the people want to hear. And also, we are sending our guest schools permission slips that each student attending must have in order to get into the dance. This will help us keep the people that should be there, and make sure that no one that doesn't belong there can get in. And we will also be sending posters to the guest schools to advertise for the dance. And our purpose for this dance is to promote school spirit and camaraderie between all the schools in our area, and we hope to have a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel.
Building administrators report. Mr. Lindberg.
You have my report before you. The month of February can best be described as one of achievement and accomplishments. The show choir received a #1 ranking at the regional event and will compete at the state meet on March 28th. The jazz choir also got a 1, and they will perform at the state meet on March 28th. One-act play was in the regional competition and got 2nd place at Brewer High School. The wrestling team won the state meet in Class B, and I got notification last night that Senator Langley will host them at the State House in the very near future. You have a handout in your packet informing you in more detail of this next item. The newly formed outing club that's in their pilot year has been awarded a free weekend winter getaway, and they will do that on the 13th through the 15th. Our cheerleading team represented Ellsworth well with a 3rd place finish at the state meet, and Connor Petros, Peyton Cole, and Liz Perry represented Ellsworth in their respective sports at the New England Championships and did very well. And Taylor Hamilton represented us well by being named State Swimmer of the Year. And if you are free Thursday night, we would invite you to the 8th grade open house at 6 o'clock. Come at 5 for a free spaghetti dinner.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lindberg.
Mr. Newitt.
Jim Hewitt at Ellsworth Elementary Middle School. Mrs. Roper is absent tonight due to illness, so I'll share with you her news, and then I'll go on to the middle school. This past week, the 4th grade students took the NAEP test, which is a national test. And we don't get any feedback on it, but it's something that the United States does to see where our students rank in reading and in math. As you know, we are a focused school, and we met with Steve Cottrell, our DOE representative, to go over our action plan. We are keeping minutes on that plan and agendas on that plan. Anybody who would like to see what we're doing there can go to industar.com. There's a guest login and a guest password, which is guest S14409. If you'd like to check that out, please feel free. Kindergarten registration took place last week. So far, 52 students have been registered. There is one more session of registration on April 8th. Please call the school, 667-6241, to set up an appointment with Sherry Cox. There is an open house for kindergarten parents on June 10th for those who are registered. Parents will get additional information in May. Dr. Seuss Day happened last Monday. All students enjoyed special activities developed by the Unified Arts, the teachers or the specialists. They even had green eggs and ham for lunch. There was a door decorating contest, and that showed off each classroom's favorite Dr. Seuss book. They are now on display in the main lobby. 12 students from EHS came down to help out, and they dressed up, wore costumes, had a good time, and Channel 5 covered it on the news. Our jump rope for heart took place again in the gym with Dave Norwood. We've done this many, many years. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade students participated to help raise money for the American Heart Association, and over $1,000 has been raised. Kindergarten, it's also raised some money for Loaves and Fishes. They raised $189 in penny collections. They also had some help from other students in the school, which was very nice. Loaves and Fishes representatives will be at the next 6 simple word assembly to receive the check and to share about the importance of taking care of our community. April 1st is the deadline that Maine College Aspiration applications are due. This is a program we ran last year for the first time, very successful with students in grades 3 to 6. They write about colleges that they would like to attend and why. The information has gone out some time ago, but April 1 deadline is coming up. February reading challenge is something that is done K through 4 over each of the breaks we have during the course of the year. And in February, we didn't get quite the participation we would hope for. It's down a little bit, with 42% of the students participating. We are hopeful that with a few adjustments that will increase over April break. First grade had their concert and art show at the end of February. Singing and artwork was beautiful. The next event is for grade 2 on April 2. And music teacher Ms. Kellogg and art teacher Mr. Delfonso did a great job presenting the work of the students. We have a big visiting author event on the 19th and 20th of this month. That will be next week. Rochelle Burke is coming to town. She'll be working with students over those 2 days. And we'll be capping that off on Thursday the 19th with a Stories and Spaghetti Night with the author. It's a family event. There'll be 2 seatings for the meal at 4:30. And another one, well, I'll say at 4:30 and 5:10. I don't know if I'm reading that right. There's an assembly with Rochelle from 5:10 to 5:45. The cost is just $4 for adults, $2 for students, or $10 for a family. I think people would have gotten a purple flyer probably yesterday explaining that in more detail. We do want the bottom of that flyer to come back so we know how many folks to plan for. Our next movie night is April 3rd on Friday night. We will be watching The Lorax. In the community news, Dave Norwood is heading up the walking school bus, and there's a training on March 26th for all of those volunteers who would like to participate as leaders in that group. Dave Norwood is to contact dnorwood@ellsworthschools.org. Okay, that's one. Got a question?
I have a question.
Please.
So 52 kindergartners are signed up so far. How does that compare with previous years?
Not a clue.
Oh, you're not Amy, right? Okay, never mind.
I have no idea. I think that's on par. I think it's about right.
Okay.
So about right for 100 kids probably. But, that's where we're at. On the middle school side of the world, in curriculum news, all 4 of the middle school grades have met with our data expert that the district has been utilizing to help us interpret our iReady data and then make some action plans as to what we can do to kind of move our students forward. So, and those meetings are continuing with the K4 teams, and his name is Bill Zolik, and he does a great job. I went to a session today with grade 7, and it was very, very informative and very helpful. The MEA testing is now called the MEA. You might have heard of it called SBAC, but now it's been renamed MEA, Maine Educational Assessment. It begins in reading and math the week of March 23rd. And the middle school grades are going to go first, 6, 7, 8, and then 5 on successive weeks. And then the other grades in the high school, year 3 students will do it after April break. That's coming right up. Grade 9 Freshman Academy team, I believe there'll be 4 teachers are going to meet with the middle school teachers this Friday to describe to us and share their experiences with the shift to proficiency-based learning. As you know, that's where everybody's moving. Middle school is on board with that, and we want to pick the brains of those folks that have already started that process at EHS, so that should help us out a great deal. In co-curricular news, we also have had a nice February. Our jazz band and show choir both qualified for the state jazz festivals based on their 1 ratings at the district festival, so they did very well. In fact, I know it was the highest score our jazz band has ever recorded. Varsity cheerleaders this past Saturday captured their 7th consecutive state championship title at the Cross Insurance Center. Our chess team also this past Saturday placed first in the Malvis division in the state chess tournament. Our 7th and 8th graders won it, and our 5th and 6th graders placed second in their division. And I did do some checking. This is something I wanted to do for a while, is try to get 5th graders involved in track if I could do it. And I surveyed the kids. There's 37 kids as of today that would like to join the track team. I'm working with Mr. Higgins to see if there's a way we can pull that off. Coach Norwood, who is the existing coach, would certainly welcome the addition of those students. And in parent news, I mentioned proficiency-based learning earlier. We do have a meeting scheduled to explain where EEMS is going with that on March 25th at 6:30 in our library. We're going to be starting with some proficiency-based units this spring at the middle school, and I want to explain to parents how that's going to happen. And I already mentioned about the spaghetti night, and the second trimester for us closes this Friday. We hope to go home on the 23rd on Monday. I can answer any questions on that page. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Amy Bowles?
Good evening. Just a few announcements before we'll do our presentation. First, Rotary Student of the Month, as you know, happens every couple of months. And we'd like to mention that this 2 months' winners were Molly Carroll, an MDI senior, who is in our law enforcement program. And then from CNA, Mavis Tongatua, who is a Bucksport High School Bridge Year student, was our Student of the Month that we honored. Applications are slowly starting to trickle in. The deadline for applying to HCTC for the fall is on Friday. So at next month's board meeting, we'll be able to give you an idea of where those numbers are at for programs, so that you know. We want to thank Emily Buckhalter from KVCAP, who came to do a presentation to our early childhood students. One of their major units is on infant development, and she came and did an outstanding job presenting to those students, so thank you to her. We also wanted to let you know that annually our culinary arts students take a team to the Pro Start competition, which is a competition specifically for CTE culinary students. All CTE schools send a team to the Share Westbrook, and they compete in a Pro Start competition. They are judged on chicken fabrication, knife cuts, food cost knowledge, and food preparation. Food preparation is the focal point, and they have an hour to cook and plate what they are going to do. And they do not have an oven. They only have butane burners and kitchen utensils that they're allowed to bring with them. This year's students that are competing are Avery Anderson, Alex Fitch, and Zeke Hitchcock from Ellsworth High School, Sarah Hillock from Sumner High School, and Desmond Billings, a homeschool student from Deer Isle. We wish them luck, and if they win first place, they go for all expense paid trip to Disneyland to compete at the national competition. So at this time, this is always my proudest moment every year, is presenting Skills USA. As you know, on Friday, March 6th, we took 59 competitors, which is our biggest bus ever. We needed 2 buses this year. You guys can start lining up. And every year, we always leave with some gold, but this year, they're still checking, but they think we broke the record, set the state record for number of gold medals by an individual school in one event. We did break the record for us, we do know that, for number of gold. We took home 30 medals, 22 of which were gold, and we were honored to have one of our students be elected to a state office. So we have a state officer for the fall. So what I told them I would do is I'm going to announce the kids who medaled who are not here first, and then they are so happy to come up here and introduce themselves. Right? Yeah. And so that you can see who they are and where they're from. So students that were not able to make it tonight, gold medalist Molly Carroll from MDI High School. She was our gold medalist last year in action skills, and she repeated this year as a senior. Jasmine Payne is from Ellsworth High School, and she received a gold medal in employment application process. Joe Wright from Ellsworth High School received a gold medal for Courtesy Corps, and in the Courtesy Corps competition, their trip is actually all expenses paid for by the state Skills USA team because they work the event the entire week. Aislinn McCafferty from Bucksport High School She was on the promotional bulletin board team with Tori Jones from Ellsworth High School and Gage Hansen from Bucksport High School. They were a team of 3 that won gold for promotional bulletin board. Devin Alley is from Narragansett High School and received gold in a team of 3 for Tech Prep Showcase Transportation Diesel. Sam Merchant is from Sumner Memorial High School, and she was part of the team of 3. Silver medalists, Cordell Soper from MDI High School Employment Application Process, so we won 1st and 2nd in that competition. Dylan Soper from Bucksport High School for prepared speech, and he's actually, I believe, going to Ellsworth Elementary this week to talk to some kids. Eric Edwards from Sumner Memorial High School Employability Knowledge Test, silver medal. Bronze medalist Caleb Payson from MDI High School Crime Scene Investigation. His teammates were Carl Rummel from Ellsworth High School and Cody Ann Farrington from Bucksport High School for Crime Scene Investigation. And finally, we earned a bronze medal in early childhood education from Natalie Gray for Bucksport High School. So at this time, I'll remind them, they're going to say their name, their high school, and they're going to say what medal they earned and what was the name of their competition.
Kathy Newman, Ellsworth High School, Career Pathway Health Services, gold.
Misty McManus, Narragansett High School. I competed in the photography competition as well as was elected state officer.
Hello, I'm Dylan Paul from Ellsworth High School, and I received a gold medal in Career Pathway Showcase Transportation and Distribution.
I'm Nolan Glencoe. I'm from Ellsworth High School, and I got gold medal in TV video production.
My name is Sarah Hillick. I'm a senior at Sumner Memorial High School, and I got a gold in commercial baking.
Hi, I'm Alex Fitch. I'm from Ellsworth High School, and I won a gold medal for Job Skill Demonstration Day.
Hi, my name is Gino Buzzrady. I won a gold medal in telecommunication at Sumner High School.
Hello, my name is Colton McPhail. I'm a senior at Ellsworth High School, and I received the gold medal in criminal justice.
My name is Hannah Craig. I was awarded a gold medal in job interview, and I'm a senior at Ellsworth High School.
Hi, I'm Julie Clemens. I'm from Ellsworth High School, and I received a gold medal in Career Pathway Showcase for Human Services.
Hi, I'm Phoebe Harrington. I got a gold medal for Career Pathways in Human Services, and I'm a senior at Sumner Memorial High School.
Hello, I'm Natalie Cox. I am in Career Pathways in Human Services. I go to EHS, and I got gold.
I'm Molly Corson. I'm from MDI, and I received a silver medal in restaurant service.
Hello, I'm Emily Rose. I go to Ellsworth High School, and I received gold for... Oh. I'm sorry, I forgot it. Career Pathways Health Services. There you go.
I'm Boyles from Ellsworth High School, and I got gold in Career Pathway Health Services.
I'm Philip Marbeau. I'm a senior at Ellsworth High School, and I received gold for TV video production.
So the other thing that was so impressive about them was it was our largest group, which always makes me a little nervous. They were the best behaved group I think I've ever taken, and I'm not just saying that. And what everybody commented on, not only in addition to how much money I'm going to have to raise in the next few months, but also was how much they loved that whenever any of our kids were named, our whole school jumped and screamed, whether it was bronze, silver, or gold. So I'm very proud of them.
You should be.
On behalf of the board, I'd like to congratulate you all on your accomplishment. Wish you luck on your upcoming competitions. And thank you for coming this evening and sharing your information with us. We're all pretty excited for you.
Yes. Thank you.
I know.
That's exciting. I should be proud.
I think it's awesome.
What's that?
You gonna stay?
Yes, sir.
It was nice.
That's great.
Ann Sargent?
Thank you, Andrew.
Yep.
Hi, everybody. I'm Annie Sargent, and I'm the Director of Adult Education. I must admit that that's quite a hard act to follow.
Yes.
Couldn't I have gone before you? However, it's hard not to be excited to be part of the Ellsworth School District. Being outside in this wonderful weather, I had a late afternoon class that I was teaching, and I was down by the shore, and I think spring might be coming even to Ellsworth, Maine. So I'm, as always, very thrilled to be here and to share the work that we're doing at Ellsworth Adult Education. Really, really excited to report that we're working closely, our faculty and advisor, which is me basically, and one other teacher, so that's easy to do, working with folks at both the high schools, HCTC and Ellsworth High School, to meet the needs of all students. And it's been really inspiring to me that we're able to do that. And I feel really strongly that it's really important to maximize limited resources to work together to serve all students. So I'm very pleased that that's happening, so thank you. We already have 3 high school graduates. Our first graduates in Ellsworth Adult Education. Because we have open enrollment and because we're using a proficiency-based system for teaching and learning, 3 of our students have demonstrated skills to graduate. Obviously, they came to us with lots of credits. They haven't earned a full high school diploma through our program since January. I just want to make sure everybody is aware of that. So that's very exciting for everybody involved. And we are ready, as the spring is starting to spring up, to think about the fall. That's the nature of the work that we're doing. And I'm sorry to say that, Andrea, because there will be a beautiful summer in there before. But we're ready to get some ideas. So if people have ideas for classes, it's hard to think about the fall when winter is still upon us. But if people have ideas for classes that they want to take or they want to teach, now's the time to start thinking about that and making connections with us. Next is that our new evening coordinator hails from San Antonio, Texas. She's a very experienced administrator and a reading specialist, and she is passionate about professional learning communities, professional development, and she has really strong organization and communication skills. She is very pleased to be contributing to the Ellsworth school system in any way that she can. I believe she's been doing some substitute teaching, and we are very thrilled to have her in adult education, which she was excited to do with a very limited wage and position, because it's something new in education that she hasn't done before. So we're thrilled to have her aboard. I wanted to, each time that I meet, I feature a particular program that we have, and I don't know, Work Ready is a statewide program, and it's available really for high school and adult education students. And I handed out a packet for you with the syllabus that I developed and a list of the tasks and skills that are demonstrated in our standards-based Work Ready program. But whenever I go to, I have a written report here, but whenever I meet with business people, they talk about the need for lots of the fundamental skills or transferable skills. And our Work Ready program is providing that. So basic communication skills, being able to show up on time and that kind of thing. In fact, and it's amazing what folks are able to do. I'm actually documenting English credit for this class, and a lot of the folks that come to our program are a little bit uncomfortable in an academic environment. And they had to give a 1-minute speech. The assignment was that they were awarded Employee of the Month, and they had to give a 1-minute speech on the importance of attendance and the impact of attendance on a business. And I told them, because I try to be very student-centered, that they could either give their speech next week or give it today after 20 minutes of preparation. And all of them, by the end, gave a 1-minute speech. All of them did exactly, they did a great job, all of them. And so it's amazing, it's been really fun for me to see how using this approach of proficiency-based in this very limited context, that people can really rise to a really high level. So I was really excited. I'm excited to be experimenting with that myself for the first time. It's a great program and available to people of all ages for all different purposes, not just in an academic environment. In fact, it's unusual to provide it as part of a high school completion program. So I recommend it to everybody. So, any questions for me? I don't want to take up too much time. I could talk all night about it all day. Thank you.
Thank you. Curriculum Coordinators Report, Rachel Corman Ramos.
Good evening. I am glad to see you this evening, and I too am celebrating the sun today. Made a big difference. The other thing that has put me in a very good mood over the last couple of days is working with Bill Zellett from the Schoodic Institute. This last one day last week and the last 2 days and the next 2 days forward, he and I have worked together to work with the grade level teachers and the principals, and to look at the data, the performance of students in different ways, iReady as well as the observations of teachers and the way that they see the classrooms. He has taken data and thought of different ways that could be effective for teachers to think about their own practice, and has been really phenomenal in how he has presented numbers. He's changed different ways of looking at it and shared it with everyone, and has brought about some really rich conversation among the teachers. It's so interesting to hear veteran teachers share their perspective from the course of many years, and new teachers, and looking at the data and talking about teaching practice and students and what they see in the classroom. So it's been a really wonderful experience. He's put together reports on all of those conversations, and we'll share them with the leadership team and help us move forward and think about all the best ways to help our kids. So it's been just really exciting to witness the creativity that you can have with numbers when you're someone who is comfortable with them. And so he's a real asset, and I think the teachers have enjoyed a time to be able to look at that and reflect it and share amongst themselves the things that they think about during the day. Teaching is a busy day every day, and it's hard to sometimes take a moment and look at your practice and think and have the luxury to reflect and share with each other. So it's been really nice to offer them the opportunity to do that, and to hear all the wonderful experiences that they have in the classrooms. Proficiency-based education curriculum. Yesterday we met with the proficiency-based steering committee at the high school, and we're working towards discussing common language, and so that we can share that with the public and with our families and among the teachers. Everyone has been working at this at different paces in the different schools, and we're all coming together as the Ellsworth School Department in moving forward. So today there was a meeting of teachers working on that, continuing to work on that. So it's exciting. Everyone is anxious to be able to message this to the community so that we can explain how we're moving forward with proficiency-based instruction, Teachers are extremely dedicated to the work, and now we're folding in the teachers, as Jim said, with the middle school, and so it's exciting to see the district move forward together in this process. The after-school program at the Ellsworth Elementary Middle School has started, and again, I want to thank Kelly Rudolph, the Title I interventionist at the school, who has spearheaded this, and she has worked with teachers who are now teaching her. We have 13 tutors after school with approximately 70 kids who are getting one-on-one or small group services after school. So that's really exciting. We know that we are working with the kids who need the most support. So she has been instrumental in making that happen, and that just started this week. It's exciting. The Go Mad for Literacy mentoring program, where our HCTC students from the early childhood program are working with 4th grade students, continues. The kids have been doing a wonderful job. Each of the students is spearheading one lesson on Wednesday afternoons and have been leading the rest of the group. And so that's a group of 24 between 12 tutors and the 12 students. They're writing books. They're having bound books. They're all put together as of tomorrow and have illustrated them and worked on different aspects of literacy and have really formed a bond. It's exciting to see. So they've been doing a wonderful job under the watchful eye of Samantha Pangburn, their teacher, and she's been doing a great job as well. As far as the Smarter Balance, the SBAC, now MEA testing, we have been able to get packets of all the different aspects of the teacher administration to the teachers now. So they're color-coded, so we can all look at them and start thinking about the very best ways to work with our kids to make it as painless a process as possible. The most important thing is that students have a learning process through it and that we're not just putting them through their paces. So we're planning on times during the PLC time for the teachers to work with how to administer it the best. It's fairly intuitive, and I think they'll do a great job at it. I know they will. So we've been able to provide the materials with that and have gotten a lot of follow-up from the state on the best ways to do that. And lastly, the Curriculum Instruction and Assessment Team has been formed and will have its first meeting tomorrow. So I'm really looking forward to working with a really dedicated group of teachers from pre-K through adult ed, and we're going to be talking about items around curriculum, looking at our Atlas mapping program that we're going to get up and running again, and talking about issues around instruction assessment district-wide, so that it'll be really a conversation where we can talk about the ways that we can bridge all of our schools and continue the good work that's been happening in each building.
So one thing I've been thinking about, where we have schools that are sending kids, especially kids that are coming into our high school, do you have a sense of where the other schools might be at in terms of proficiency-based learning? I mean, I'm really excited about some of the work that we're doing in our middle school and even elementary school, starting to prepare kids. Do you know if the other schools are where they're at?
Absolutely. The curriculum directors at the schools, the sending schools, we work together in a group called the Down East Educational Partnership. And so we are meeting once a month and discussing all of our progress. Each of the schools has made tremendous gains. And so they are absolutely, in different ways, working on different pockets. I know that I have children at MDI who I'm seeing it from what they tell me about what's happening in their elementary classrooms, all the way up to the high school. They're implementing all the pieces that we are, as well as Bucksport, as well as RSU 24. So yes, all of the ones that are sending schools are working on this as we are, in mostly the same process. And some are in different spots, but in general have been making really impressive gains. And I think that all the kids who are coming to the Ellsworth High School will have those experiences. Absolutely. That the ninth graders that will be coming to Ellsworth High School will have been exposed to those processes before they even come here. So it's been exciting for me as a curriculum coordinator to work with them, because everyone's sharing ideas, sharing best practices, talking about challenges, sharing resources, saying we found this great website, you can share this with the teachers, and that kind of thing. So it's been very valuable work for all of us, because it's it's a challenging time, but it's exciting. Are there any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Superintendent's report, Mr. Higgins.
Thank you, Mrs. Thomas. Good evening, everybody. Would like to report to you on new staff hired since our last meeting. Hired Rochelle Brown as the JV softball coach at EMS. And as Andy mentioned a few minutes ago, Debbie Richards as the adult ed evening coordinator. And I would echo what Andy said. I think Mrs. Richards is very excited to be in the area, motivated to work and serve the Ellsworth School Department. In addition to submitting an application to substitute, she set up an appointment to come in and talk about areas of interest that she had. And she does have a number of areas of interest and expertise. So I think she'll be an asset to the department. Mentioned before in the correspondence section, a letter of resignation from Robin Clark, who served as an ed tech at Ellsworth High School for 27 years. We wish Robin the very best in her next endeavor, which I think is starting very soon, and want to thank her for her years of service to the school system. Quick update on the search process for the next principal at Ellsworth High School. The Screening and Search Committee met on March 3rd to review and screen applications. We received 5 applications this year and selected 3 for interviews. While we anticipated receiving a larger number of applications by the deadline, and we didn't, the committee was very pleased with the quality of applicants and are really looking forward to meeting with the 3 candidates that we have. Those first round of interviews are going to take place on March 16th. And as stated in the initial timeline, our intent is to bring a candidate for board approval at the April 14th, 2015 board meeting. Committee members include members of the School Board's Personnel Committee, Don Hudson and Marcia Jude. Administrators, Greg Applestein from Ellsworth High School, who's the assistant principal there. Lynn Maddox, who's our special education director. Guidance counselor, Bev Homich. City council member, John Moore. Parent of Ellsworth students, Jen Alexander. And Ellsworth High School student, Justin Brown. And I'd like to thank that group for their hard work in that process. And they know they've got a lot of work left to do. I'd also like to report officially that the proficiency-based diploma extension application that you authorized us to submit at last month's meeting was submitted, and we received a response from the Department of Education. The Department of Education has approved that application, so we have got the extension for an additional year. The approval was granted with the Department of Education recognizing the amount of work and quality work done by Ellsworth School Department teachers and administrators, in particular recognizing the staff at Ellsworth High School where the bulk of the work has taken place over the past several years. A lot of discussion, a lot of conversation about submitting the application, as we talked about at last month's meeting, but all involved, all the stakeholders involved felt that it was the best move for us would be to pursue that extension. One thing I would like to hand out to you folks tonight is a copy of a letter that is going to be posted on the school's website and Facebook page as part of our public relations tour for our move to proficiency-based. This is a bit of a historical perspective on where we started, where we've gone for the first extension application, the second extension application, and it also includes the information I just shared with you with regards to our most recent communication with the Department of Ed. It also includes an outline of activities that are going to take place over the next year and a half as we move forward towards a full implementation of this model. So I won't read these to you tonight, but we'll give you copies of them, and you will see them published electronically very soon.
Is there one here for Dawn?
Yes.
Okay.
I think I gave you one extra.
Okay, thank you.
Would also like to report on the vision and mission work. As you know, you folks met in a workshop with Mary Jane McCalman, an educational consultant, who talked to us about how she can help us with developing a new vision and mission and statement of guiding beliefs and values for the Ellsworth School Department, and you subsequently contracted with her. I want to let you know, I'm very pleased that the work officially begins on March 18th when the newly formed design team will convene with Mrs. McCalman to review the purpose of the work, affirm the charge for what is being known as the Vision Planning Team. In your meeting with Mrs. McCalman, she talked about that as the steering committee, but the Vision Planning Team will be the group that drives this process. The design team will also, on the 18th, determine the size and membership of that planning team. And the planning team will likely be composed of individuals that represent a variety of demographic groups throughout the city of Ellsworth. The timeline for the final approval of a new vision, mission, and statement of guiding beliefs is the end of this current school year. And I'd like to recognize the members of the design team, representing the Board of Directors with School Board, Brenda Thomas, representing the City Council, Pam Perkins, representing Ellsworth School Administration, EMS Principal Jim Newitt, representing teachers, Andrea Beardsley from Ellsworth High School, and I have the pleasure of serving on that team as well. And we will plan to provide you with updates at each subsequent meeting on that process. And unless you have further questions for me, that concludes my report.
Thank you.
Item H, committee reports.
I think we're waiting for policies that we're going to recommend. We have nothing else.
Well, I believe policy met and also facilities and transportation met. There were items on the agenda for both of those committees.
Okay.
Old business?
There is none.
There is none. Okay. New business. 1A, first read of community use of student facilities policy, KF.
I think with this policy in particular, it'd be helpful for the board members to just pay close attention to it. I think you have versions probably that were submitted to us online. I don't think we have versions printed out. So look those over and send us suggestions by email. It's dense stuff. It's stuff we've been working on for many months now, and so we're pretty close to being finished with it, but would love some feedback, especially looking at the fees that we're proposing.
And just so the public who's watching this on TV knows, those members of the audience, KF is facilities use.
It's a facilities use policy.
Yes.
And KF represents, as Andrea said, a great deal of work on behalf of the committee. It also represents the opportunity for members of the administration to provide feedback and guidance. Also, you folks held a board workshop where we invited members of the public to come in. All of the input has been incorporated into this first read, and I would agree with Andrea that policy KF, with potentially some minor tweaking, will be ready to go at the next meeting. But also would want to let you know that included in your packet, the electronic packet that was sent, there's KFR, which is the administrative procedures for that particular policy, and KFE, which is the facilities request form. Those two documents do not require board approval as you direct administration to prepare them, but we include them to you because the policy committee did work actively on those. So,
Motion?
I make a motion to approve the first read of the community use of facilities policy KF as recommended by the policy committee.
Can I second that
Yes,
as a
you may.
chair? I can
Yes.
second that.
You may.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Great. So the next piece of policy we have for you is policy KFA, and this is specifically for the Performing Arts Center at the high school. And this is one that we've had for a bit of time. It's been sort of a tried and true policy that's been in effect for a while, and this is just for the first read, but we feel pretty confident about where it's at right now.
Motion?
I make a motion to approve the first read of the community use of the Ellsworth Performing Arts Center policy KFA as recommended by the policy committee.
I second it.
All those in favor?
Next policy EBCF. This policy deals with defibrillators, and this is a policy that is more and more schools are having. They're common to have at schools now, and so we're moving this along because I believe we actually have them now, and so we need a policy to just.
We do have the devices in our schools, and you're right, this is a policy that provides guidelines for us working with the school physician, working with our school nurses, and other experts as necessary to have guidelines, which we have. It also makes reference to the fact that the Good Samaritan laws do apply to folks who have to use this particular piece of equipment. And everything that we understand from working with our school nurses, the equipment is foolproof.
Do a motion?
I make a motion to approve the first read of the automated external defibrillators policy EBCF as recommended by the policy committee.
I second it.
Discussion? All those in favor?
So these are, the next two policies are policies that are, we're submitting for second read. The first one is co-curricular programs related to our high school. Again, this policy had input from administrators, and I think we did get some feedback from some of the board members too, so we're ready to send this for full approval.
We got feedback from coaches too.
I make a motion to approve the second read and adopt the high school co-curricular programs policy JJIA as recommended by the policy committee.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
And the last one is JJIB, and this is co-curricular activities related to our middle school, grades 5 through 8. And again, had some good involvement from administrators as well as the school nurse, physician, school physician, and even had to track some of the physicals students are required. So I think we've got this policy in a good place. We are working on a policy for next year that I believe will be submitting ahead of time, but for now these are the ones that we're going to be using for the remainder of the year.
You're going to use these policies for the balance of the year, as the committee felt it would not be prudent to make changes to the academic eligibility standards partway through a school year.
Yeah.
So what you'll be seeing later on at the end of the school year is these policies with different eligibility language.
I make a motion to approve the second read and adopt grades 5 through 8 co-curricular activities policy JJIB as recommended by the policy committee.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Discussion and consideration of a school bus purchase.
And copies for everybody?
Already, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Facilities and Transportation Committee did meet a week or so ago with Russ Gray. And what you have in front of you is the bid document that Russ used in looking at bus purchases. And what he reported to the Facilities and Transportation Committee is that for fiscal year 15-16, Ellsworth School Department has been approved for a bus purchase and funding for a bus purchase through the state. What Mr. Gray submitted to the Facilities Transportation Committee was 3 buses they put out for bid. His recommendation is for a 2016 International 77-passenger school bus, which is a vehicle we have had in the past that we've had good success with. It is the low bid, and it does meet all state's minimum school bus specifications. So he recommended that to the Facilities and Transportation Committee, and the Facilities and Transportation Committee voted unanimously to recommend that to you. One thing I would add from that meeting, if the members of the committee recall, there was some question as to whether or not the state was going to include in our current year subsidy report the bus that was purchased this year. And we have found out that it was just a miscommunication due to the withdrawal and restart up, some communication information between the Facilities Division and the Finance Division. That is going to be corrected. The other piece that we found is a bus that was leased originally while we were part of the RSU. We made the lease payment on that for this year. We're going to be reimbursed for that as well. So that's good news.
Good news.
And this particular bus has been approved. There will not be that paperwork glitch next year.
Good news.
Yep. Motion?
I move that we approve the purchase of a school bus as recommended by Dan.
I'll second that. Discussion? All those in favor? Thank you.
I think it's worth noting that approval is contingent upon passage of the budget.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Discussion and consideration of the Ellsworth School Department 2015-16 school calendar.
Yes, we have had sent to you electronically a copy of the draft calendar for 15-16. It's important to let you know that we worked closely with the other sending schools for Hancock County Technical Center because there are statutory requirements that we must meet in terms of the number of dissimilar days that we can have for students attending HCTC. So as much flexibility as we like to have locally, we still have some restraints put on us by the state legislature. I would say that the Hancock County schools do a very good job of trying to make sure that we value and honor the local flavor of each school department's calendar while still meeting the statutory guidelines. There's a great deal of cooperation and collaboration. The other piece with this particular calendar that is important to note is that we did ask for feedback from our administrators and from all of our staff members. We did get some feedback, not a great deal of feedback, but we did get some. Some of the pieces that we did receive were in the first week of September. We'd be starting school on September 1st and be there for the 2nd and the 3rd, but we would have a non-school day on the 4th. It's a recognition of Labor Day weekend, which is an important thing to many people around here, and it also is a day that a number of other schools in Hancock County will not be sending students. We had some teachers who thought they would like to have that as a student day, particularly with the number of storm days we've had this year. We're not going to go with that. The other most noteworthy comment was around the days in November, the week of Thanksgiving. We had a number of staff who like having professional development days on those 2 days. We have a number of staff who don't like them. Again, what it came down to was the fact that with the other sending schools for Hancock County Technical Center, having the days on those particular days made the most sense. So this calendar, other than that, is virtually the same in terms of corresponding days, in-service days, vacation days, holidays. The one piece that's a little bit different is, in order for us to have our last day on this calendar on a Friday in June rather than the following Monday or Tuesday, we've only built in 2 storm days. Okay? And many people will respond by saying that's not nearly enough, but it's important for you folks on the board to know, folks in the audience to know, and members of the public to know, we still have to have our students attend school 177 days, 177 by state law, but 177 in our district. It doesn't matter how many days we build in, we still have to attend school that number of days. So we can certainly add some, but I think it's a psychological piece. If we're finishing on June 17th rather than June 20th or 21st, the beginning of a week, that looks a little bit better. But with that said, I would like to recommend the board consider approving the draft calendar that has been submitted.
I make a motion to approve the Ellsworth School Department 2015-2016 school year calendar as presented and recommended by the superintendent.
I second that.
Discussion?
I have just a question about this, and it might be more appropriate for the next item on the agenda, but when we have snow days and we have storm days scheduled, do we use those days regardless of whether it's a storm or not? Is it built into the school year, or is it like extra days if nothing?
We basically add extra days onto the calendar in the event that we use storm days. If, for example, we had a year where there were no closure days because of storms, we would simply end school 3 days earlier.
Okay.
Good question.
And I assume that one thing we might address with this on this next item is sort of what the procedures are when we go significantly over.
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
We can do that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Thank you.
Discussion and consideration of adjustments to the Ellsworth School Department 2014-15 school calendar to include additional days due to school cancellations.
Yes, again, sent you a draft of what we have proposed for this evening. We did get some feedback from administrators, did get some feedback from staff. Some of that feedback from staff was unsolicited, but we're very glad to have it. Just to give you a quick historical background, probably a month ago, Hancock County superintendents discussed the number of storm days. And it's interesting, when you look at calendars, some districts build in storm days like we do, other districts do not. Some districts have had more closure days than we have. For example, Mount Desert Island, not because of snow, but because of other issues, have had more closure days. So we're all over the board on the number of days that we have to make up. But we did talk about what to do with the number of storm days and the number of closure days. And approximately a month ago, most of the other schools, with the exception of us and one other, had decided to take the March 27th workshop day for staff and make it a student day and simply move the workshop day to the end of the year. We were not at a point where we were ready to do that. we really wanted to make sure that we had that professional day for our staff, particularly with the work around proficiency-based transition work. However, with the most recent storm day, that caused us to think a little bit more about whether or not that would make sense. We talked with the administrative team and decided that the best course of action for us, and it would be consistent with what other schools in Hancock County are doing, would be to take the March 27th day and make it a half student day, which would count as a student day, and a half professional day for our staff, which would allow us to get a student day in during the school year when people's minds are still focused on academics, rather than having a student day at the end of the year, and move the full professional development day to the end of the calendar. What this would do would put us in a position where we would still need to add days on at the end of the year for our underclassmen, but it would mean that we would not have to add anything on for our seniors, nor would we have to consider using a Saturday. In fact, adopting the change that I'm recommending tonight will still give us one day in the event that we use a storm where we still will not have to do anything with our seniors. And I do want to thank a couple of our administrators who in their reports tonight talked about spring coming and talked about liking the sun. What that tells me is we're going to have another storm day sometime between now and the end of March. So the recommendation would be for us to ask you to change the calendar to have March 27th be a half student day, half staff professional development day, and to move the staff professional development day to the end of the calendar. What this would mean is our last student day, pending further snowstorms, would be June 22nd. Our last teacher day would be June 24th.
I move that we approve the adjustments to the Ellsworth School Department 2014-2015 school year as presented by and recommended by the superintendent.
I second that. Discussion?
Did you want to take up the questions that you had, Andrea, in regards to options?
No, I think this is fine. I think that I was just looking for something more formalized. I mean, I know that a lot of parents at this time are planning camps and after-school care, and so knowing ahead of time it's good that we're doing it now, because a lot of people have been asking me, what our plan is. It's fine.
Okay.
I have a question.
Sure.
You're talking about a half day. Are we talking about a true half day, or are we talking a 1:30 dismissal?
A true half day. We're looking at dismissal. I believe 11:30 was the time we were talking about. And one of the reasons we opted for a true half day was because we really want the professional development time for our teachers.
Mm-hmm.
We do not want to give the message that the professional development time that's built into our calendars is not important.
Mm-hmm.
So we really discussed that for quite a bit of time at our last leadership team meeting.
That's a big message to get out on a Friday that usually gets out at 1:30.
Yeah.
Well, as soon as you people approve this, which I believe you're going to do, we will make sure that we get the public relations piece out there and let parents know that it will not be the typical PLC day. It will be a true half day.
Okay. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Thank you.
Discussion and consideration of a maintenance contract.
Yes, maintenance contract with Siemens that was proposed through the Siemens Company in accord with Russ Gray was presented to the Facilities and Transportation Committee at their last meeting. In essence, what we're looking at is changing a contract for our services with a vendor from our current vendor to Siemens. Siemens is a company and a vendor that the Ellsworth School Department has worked with very well historically, has got the maintenance contract at Ellsworth High School. Reason that we were looking at this in talking with Mr. Gray and taking his recommendations was that the service and support we received from our current vendor was not up to the standards that we wanted. It was a slow response time, and the quality of service that we received was not what Mr. Gray was needing. We wanted to move to a vendor with whom we had a stronger history. The other piece that this allows us to do is to upgrade the systems at EEMS without a significant capital investment. In order to put a new or upgraded system in there, we'd be talking over a $300,000 investment in a single year. What the proposal from Siemens is doing is allowing us to take about $78,000 over a 3.5-year period to upgrade our system, allow us to contract with a vendor with whom we have a great history, and respect the initial investment that we have without a significant change to equipment. The other piece that will allow us to do, as the Facilities and Transportation Committee heard, was with the upgrade of systems will permit us to get greater control over the systems through the management board and identify areas where the system can operate more efficiently, which should save us some monies in the long run. When we're looking at increases to the budget, we would look at it in this manner. It's a three-phase proposal that takes place over about 3.5 years. Phase 1 encompasses the balance of this school year and the beginning of next school year. For the balance of this school year, we'd spend $7,300 to install a new client personal computer to improve the remote connection by the vendor, and it prepares us for the enhancements in years 2 and 3. That $7,300 is already built into the budget with the maintenance contract that we had with the other vendor. So it will be a wash. Year 2, which is part of Phase 1, which is next year, is to put in a state-of-the-art controller, and that would take place in August of 2015, and that would be at a cost of $18,000. Now, that would be an increase of $10,000 over the $8,000 we budget for a maintenance contract, so there is a little bit of an increase there. Phase 2, which would be in the 2016-17 school year, would be to connect EEMS and EHS together through the Ethernet system, add a remote notification platform to all critical systems in EEMS, install new software on the system, and provide training to our staff. That would come at a cost of $26,000, which would be an increase of $8,000 over the previous year. The third phase, which would be 2017-18, would be to enhance that system further, to add the remote notification to Ellsworth High School, complete the migration of the control system to a single workstation, which would allow better remote access by our vendor, and it would also give us time to explore whether or not we wanted to have Hancock County Technical Center be part of the same umbrella vendor. That would be a cost of $26,000 in that year as well, and you're talking an increase of only $700 over the prior year. So for that investment, it addresses our current issues. It provides us with the opportunities to improve our services with a vendor that we have a history and a reliable history. And the Facilities and Transportation Committee not only met with Russ Gray, but met with a representative from Siemens, and they unanimously voted to recommend that you as a board approve this contract.
Ready for motion?
If you're ready to give one.
Okay. I make a motion to approve the maintenance contract as presented and recommended by the superintendent.
I second that.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Thank you.
Request for Hancock County Technical Center fundraising activities to support their trip to national competition.
And the reason this was an adjustment on the agenda was we were waiting to find out what the results of the Skills USA competition was going to be, and as you saw earlier tonight, students had a wonderful amount of success. So we put this item on the agenda so that Mrs. Bowles could talk to you about some fundraising activities that they have planned and ask for board support of those activities.
So each year we approach the board to get initial permission to begin fundraising. In April, I will come to you to do a presentation about how much the trip is going to cost, because it's a lot, and give you a breakdown of how much per person it would be, how much we need to fundraise, and give you particulars about the actual trip itself. That's what we've done historically for the last several years. That's not anything new. But what we typically try to do is come right out of the gate with our fundraising efforts. And our first fundraising effort is at Pat's Pizza on Monday night from 5 to 7. Our skills students will be the waiters and waitresses, and all tips that are given between that 2-hour span, whether you're in drive-through, takeout, or in the restaurant, go to our organization. But in order to start fundraising to attend nationals, I need your approval, that I have your initial support, knowing that in April I'll come back and give you more details.
I make a motion to approve the request for HCTC fundraising activities to support their trip to national competition as recommended by the superintendent.
I second that.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Thank you.
Amy, you said that's Monday is the benefit, the first benefit?
Monday at Pat's Pizza, and what were the times again?
5 to 7.
5 to 7.
Are there any other fundraisers planned between now and April?
Not between
meeting?
now. Well, the middle school camp that we're going to do at the end of the month for 7th and 8th graders is going to be used as a fundraiser. And then the only other fundraiser right now that's officially on the books is the Boggy Brook 5K in June. But we have some thoughts and ideas. The kids are ready to get rolling here soon. But I told them to hold their horses until we got more information and had approval before we really put our efforts in.
Last year you had a site where people could go and just donate. Will you have that same site
Yes.
online? Okay.
Yeah, the GoFundMe site was the first time we had ever done that, and we will do that again.
Okay.
Because that was very easy for people to just log on,
Mhm.
give their money, and they didn't have to think about mailing a check or doing whatever, so for busy people. But we're looking at probably about $30,000 to $40,000 we need to fundraise to send everybody. So we've got a lot of work to do.
Thank you.
Thank you. I need a motion to go in.
Might I suggest we do the calendar and announcements first?
Okay, calendar announcements, meeting schedule. Policy committee meeting Monday, March 16th, at the Elsa School Department offices at 8:30 a.m. School board workshop to discuss the superintendent's evaluation on March 24th at the Ellsworth School Department offices at 6:30 p.m. And school board meeting Tuesday, April 14th, 2015, City Hall, Council Chambers at 6:30.
Good.
Okay. Now, I need a motion to go into executive session.
I will make a motion to enter executive session under do I need to say it all now? MRSA 20A for the purpose of negotiations update as recommended by the superintendent.
Second that.
All those in favor? Thank you.
We're going to executive session at 7:45.